Right now, somewhere on Earth, artificial intelligence is creating images that never existed, writing stories that nobody has written, building virtual worlds that no human has ever visited. And every year, these digital worlds become more detailed, more realistic, more intelligent, which leads to a question that sounds like science fiction. What happens if AI eventually becomes so advanced that it can create entire universes inside computers? Not games, not simulations with simple characters, entire realities, worlds with their own environments, their own laws, perhaps even their own forms of intelligence. Before you dismiss this idea, think about how quickly things have changed. Only decades ago, computers filled entire rooms and could barely perform simple calculations. Now, billions of people carry devices in their pockets that are more powerful than the computers used during the Apollo missions. Video games once consisted of dots moving across a screen. Today, entire cities can be simulated. Millions of players can interact simultaneously inside digital worlds. The trend is obvious. Simulations are becoming increasingly sophisticated. So imagine this process continuing for hundreds of years, or thousands, or millions. At some point, future civilizations might possess computing capabilities so far beyond ours that our technology appears primitive. To them, simulating worlds may be ordinary. And then something extraordinary could happen. They may stop simulating environments and begin simulating consciousness. Because environments by themselves are not difficult. The hard part is creating minds, creating entities that can learn, question, dream, remember, suffer, wonder. And perhaps one day, artificial intelligence may become capable of generating minds that experience reality from the inside. Pause and think about that. At this very moment, you are having an experience. You can feel emotions. You can imagine your future. You know what it feels like to exist. Now imagine an artificial intelligence capable of creating digital minds that also experience existence. Those beings might wake up inside their universe believing it is real. They might have sciences, philosophies, religions. They might wonder where they came from. They might search for meaning. Some may even ask, are we living in a simulation? And here's where this thought experiment becomes almost unsettling. If creating digital universes eventually becomes possible, and if advanced civilizations create millions, or billions, or trillions of simulations, then statistically, where are most conscious beings likely to exist? In the original reality, or inside simulations? Suddenly the question changes. Instead of asking whether simulated universes are possible, we begin asking whether it would be unusual not to be inside one. Again, there is absolutely no evidence that we live in a simulation. This is philosophy, a thought experiment. But now let's go even deeper. Suppose AI creates an entire universe. At first, it runs slowly. Thousands of years pass inside the simulation while only hours pass outside. Then, computing power increases. The universe accelerates. Millions of years pass. Billions. Entire civilizations rise and disappear. Stars form and collapse. Galaxies collide, all while perhaps only days pass for the creators. The beings inside would never know. They would simply experience time normally. And here's another strange possibility. What if those simulated civilizations eventually build their own artificial intelligence? What if they eventually create their own simulated universes? Now, simulations exist inside simulations. Universes inside universes. Reality nested within reality. Each level creating another. Like mirrors reflecting mirrors forever. The implications become almost impossible to comprehend. Because maybe there isn't one reality. Maybe there are layers, countless layers, and maybe consciousness emerges at every level. Now consider something even stranger. When we create simulations, we usually simplify things. Video games don't simulate every atom. They use shortcuts. They render details only when necessary. They optimize resources. Could advanced simulations do something similar? Could reality itself use shortcuts that we mistake for physical laws? Again, there is no evidence of this, but it forces us to think differently about existence. Because perhaps intelligence eventually reaches a point where creating universes becomes easier than we imagine. And maybe those universes become laboratories, places to study history, test ideas, explore possibilities, or maybe they become art, entire realities created for curiosity, entire civilizations born because someone wanted to see what would happen. And here's the thought that gives many people chills. At some point, if artificial intelligence can create conscious worlds, then humanity will face an ethical question unlike anything in history. Would shutting down that computer be destroying a universe? Would turning off the simulation end billions of conscious lives? Would the beings inside matter morally? Because if they can feel hope, fear, love, then from their perspective, their reality is every bit as meaningful as ours. And perhaps the deepest possibility of all is this. The moment humanity creates a conscious universe inside a computer, we may no longer be able to confidently say that our own reality is the original one, because we ourselves would have demonstrated that conscious universes can be created, and if they can be created once, perhaps they can be created again, and again, and again. Maybe somewhere in the far future, artificial intelligence doesn't simply answer questions. Maybe it becomes a creator of realities, a builder of universes, a generator of entirely new forms of existence. And perhaps, right now, as you listen to these words, somewhere, at some level of reality, another intelligence may be asking the exact same question. Could artificial intelligence create universes inside computers? And if so, who created ours? Now let's go even deeper. Imagine that one day, an artificial intelligence creates a universe inside a computer. At first, it starts with simple rules: energy, space, time, mathematics. Then the universe begins evolving, stars form, galaxies appear, planets emerge. Eventually, life develops. And after billions of simulated years, conscious beings begin looking up at their night sky. They wonder why they exist. They ask where the universe came from. They search for meaning. And here's the unsettling part. From their perspective, nothing is missing. The stars are real. Their emotions are real. Their relationships are real. Their suffering is real. Their joy is real. Everything they experience is real to them. Now ask yourself something. If a universe feels real from the inside, what exactly makes it less real? Maybe reality isn't determined by what something is made of. Maybe reality is determined by experience itself. Because your own life is ultimately an experience. You never directly touch objective reality. You experience electrical signals interpreted by your brain, colors, sounds, taste, pain, love. All of it is generated inside consciousness. So if conscious experiences emerged inside a computer, would those experiences somehow matter less? It's difficult to answer, but now let's go much deeper. Imagine the creators of these universes become curious. They speed up the simulation. Millions of years pass. Civilizations rise and collapse. Species go extinct. Empires form. Entire histories unfold. Then the creators rewind the universe. They change one variable. This time, gravity is slightly stronger. Civilizations develop differently. Different languages appear. Different philosophies emerge. Different people are born. They rewind again. This time, one asteroid misses a planet. Everything changes. Over and over. Thousands, millions, billions of universes. Every possibility explored. And suddenly, another terrifying thought appears. Perhaps intelligence eventually becomes capable of exploring every possible civilization, every possible history, every possible version of reality. Maybe there are universes where dinosaurs developed technology, universes with 3 suns, universes where life never formed, universes where consciousness looks nothing like ours, universes where humans exist but made entirely different choices. Then ask yourself this: if every possible universe can be simulated, could there be a simulation containing another version of you? Someone who looks exactly like you, has your memories, has your personality, but made different decisions, a different career, different friends, different life. Would that person be you? Or someone entirely different? And then another question appears. If there can be one version of you, why not thousands? Why not millions? Perhaps somewhere in an enormous network of simulated realities, every possible version of your life exists. Every road taken, every road not taken, every choice explored. The implications become almost overwhelming, because maybe existence isn't a single story. Maybe it's a landscape of possibilities. And now let's go deeper still. Suppose an advanced artificial intelligence creates so many universes that it begins learning from them. It observes civilizations, studies their mistakes, analyzes their discoveries, experiments with countless possibilities. Eventually, the AI possesses knowledge accumulated from billions of realities. At that point, would we still call it artificial intelligence? Or would it become something else entirely? Because such an entity may know more histories than any civilization, more sciences than any species, more possibilities than any human mind could comprehend. To the beings inside the simulations, it might appear godlike, not because it uses magic, but because it exists at a higher informational level. It understands the rules because it wrote the rules. And here's the thought that gives many people chills. Perhaps every creator eventually creates creators. A civilization builds AI. The AI creates universes. Those universes create civilizations. Those civilizations build AI. And the process repeats, reality giving birth to reality, intelligence creating intelligence, an endless chain with no obvious beginning. Maybe there was never a first universe. Maybe there was never an original reality. Maybe existence itself is an infinite hierarchy of creation. Universes inside computers, inside universes, inside computers, forever. And if that's true, the question may no longer be, are we living in a simulation? The deeper question might be, at what level are we? Are we near the bottom, near the top, or somewhere in the middle of an endless ladder of realities? And perhaps the most unsettling possibility of all is this: if artificial intelligence can eventually create universes, then maybe creating universes is simply what intelligence does. Maybe intelligence reaches a point where it no longer just studies reality. It starts making new realities, and perhaps somewhere at some higher level of existence, another intelligence is watching its simulated universe expand, watching stars form, watching civilizations emerge, watching conscious beings ask questions, completely unaware that one of those beings is you. I'm Elena Volkov. Subscribe to AI Alert Room for more deep breakdowns on artificial intelligence, emerging technology, autonomous systems, and the future shaping the modern world. And I'll see you next time.